What happens when a routine police stop turns into a life-changing moment? Have you ever wondered how quickly assumptions can change? Imagine driving peacefully, only to be pulled over by the police. How would you feel in that situation? Would you be nervous, angry, or maybe just confused? Today, we delve into a powerful story that highlights the impact of race and wealth in a surprising encounter. This isn't just about a traffic stop. It's about breaking stereotypes, challenging perceptions, and revealing the truth behind appearances. Picture this: a sunny afternoon, a black man is driving down the road, enjoying the day. Everything seems normal until he sees those flashing blue lights in his rearview mirror. His heart races as he pulls over, uncertain of what's about to unfold. The officers approach with caution, ready to confront a situation that might be all too familiar to them. What would you do if you were in his shoes? Would you stay calm, or would panic set in? As we explore this story, we'll uncover some surprising facts about how society views race and wealth. Did you know that people of color often face different experiences during police encounters compared to their white counterparts? Or that many assumptions are made based solely on appearance? In this video, we'll reveal the shocking twist that turns this encounter on its head. As we take you through this journey, you'll learn about the realities of racial profiling, the power of identity, and the lessons that can come from unexpected situations. By the end, we'll leave you with a thought-provoking question: how can we change our perspectives and challenge our own assumptions? Stay with us as we unravel the layers of this dramatic encounter. We'll share insights that might make you rethink what you believe about society. You won't just be watching a story unfold, you'll be part of a conversation that matters. From the initial confrontation to the surprising revelation of the man's true identity, we'll guide you through every moment filled with tension and unexpected twists. You'll witness how a simple traffic stop can lead to a profound lesson about understanding and respect. So, are you ready to join us on this journey? Let's dive in and discover what happens when assumptions collide with reality, and how one man's experience can challenge our views on race and wealth. In a world where a simple drive can lead to a life-changing encounter, we often overlook the complex realities behind police stops. Imagine a city bustling with life, where people of all backgrounds move through their daily routines. Among them is a black man, just like any other. He's on his way home after a long day at work, ready to unwind and enjoy time with his family. But as he navigates the familiar streets, he sees flashing blue lights in his rearview mirror. Suddenly, his heart sinks. Why is he being stopped? What will happen next? These thoughts race through his mind, and the tension builds. This moment could change everything. For many black individuals, a traffic stop isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's a moment filled with dread and anxiety. Statistics reveal a troubling trend. People of color are disproportionately stopped by the police compared to their white counterparts. According to a study by the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, black drivers are significantly more likely to be pulled over than white drivers. These statistics don't merely represent numbers. They embody the lived experiences of countless individuals who face prejudice daily. Imagine the emotional toll this takes. Our protagonist grips the steering wheel tightly, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. He knows the stories. He's heard about others who faced unnecessary scrutiny, harassment, or even violence during routine stops. With each passing moment, the officer approaches, and the uncertainty grows. Will he be treated with respect, or will he face the harsh reality of racial profiling? Now let's turn our attention to the officers. They too are navigating a world filled with complexities and preconceived notions. Often, their training instills a sense of vigilance, a need to be aware of potential threats. But this can lead to a dangerous path, one where assumptions override individual experiences. As the officer approaches the vehicle, he may unconsciously draw conclusions based on the man's appearance. Is he wearing designer clothes? What kind of car is he driving? These factors shouldn't matter, yet they cloud judgment. In the eyes of the officer, a black man in a luxury vehicle can provoke suspicion, a perception influenced by societal narratives that suggest wealth and race are at odds. "Do you know why I pulled you over?" the officer asks, his voice firm yet probing. The question hangs in the air, thick with tension. The man replies, "No, I don't." His tone remains calm, but inside, a storm brews. The officer's body language betrays a readiness to escalate. The man knows he must remain composed. He recalls the countless stories shared by friends and family about the importance of staying calm during such encounters. This isn't just a moment for him. It's a test of his character and patience. As the interaction unfolds, misunderstandings surface. The officer's questions come rapid fire, each one laden with assumptions. "Where are you coming from? What's your occupation?" The man explains he works in finance, hoping to alleviate the officer's concerns. Yet, the tension in the air remains palpable. Every second feels like an eternity as the officer runs his license plates. The man's mind races. Will he be treated as a suspect or a citizen? Will his words be taken seriously, or will they be dismissed? The power dynamic is clear, and he feels it weighing heavily on him. As the officer walks back to his patrol car, the man can't shake the feeling of vulnerability. He glances around, noticing the other drivers passing by, blissfully unaware of the drama unfolding just a few feet away. A knot forms in his stomach. He wonders what they would think if they knew his story. Would they see him as a man defined by his achievements or one reduced to a stereotype? In that moment, time seems to slow. He watches as the officer speaks into his radio, fingers poised over his notepad. What will the officer find? Will he discover something that changes everything? The uncertainty hangs like a dark cloud, and he braces himself for whatever may come. Moments later, the officer returns, his expression shifted from suspicion to surprise. The tension in the air begins to crack, like ice underfoot. "I need to see your ID," he says, his tone now slightly softer, yet still cautious. The man retrieves his wallet, revealing a driver's license that holds more than just his name. It contains a story of hard work, perseverance, and resilience against the odds. As the officer examines the ID, he notices something unexpected. The man's name is tied to a world he's only seen from afar. Wealth, success, a life most can only dream of. The look on the officer's face begins to change. The realization dawns on him. And suddenly, he's faced with the reality of his own assumptions. The encounter shifts dramatically. The man is no longer just a black driver. He is a billionaire, someone whose life challenges the narrative crafted by societal expectations. The officer stumbles over his words, searching for the right thing to say. The earlier bravado fades as humility takes its place. "What do you do for a living?" the officer finally asks, his curiosity piqued. The man responds with confidence, detailing his work in finance and investments. He shares stories of his journey, the obstacles he overcame, and the lessons he learned along the way. As they talk, a remarkable transformation occurs. The officer's demeanor softens, and the tension that once filled the air dissipates. He begins to understand that this encounter is more than just a routine stop. It's an opportunity to learn and grow. The conversation flows, revealing shared experiences and common ground. They discuss the challenges of their respective worlds, and slowly, the barriers built on assumptions begin to crumble. In this moment, both men realize that they are not so different after all. This unexpected twist changes the dynamics of their interaction. The man's calmness and openness in the face of uncertainty serve as a lesson for the officer. It highlights the importance of understanding and respecting individuals beyond their appearances. This story is not just about a traffic stop. It is a microcosm of the broader societal issues surrounding race, identity, and privilege. Through this encounter, they both gain a deeper understanding of their roles in the world. The officer reflects on the power of perception and the consequences of snap judgments, while the man sees the importance of representation and breaking stereotypes. As the officer stares at the driver's license, The tension in the air shifts yet again. The man, who moments ago was merely a suspect in the officer's eyes, now holds a key that could unlock a deeper conversation about identity, perception, and reality. As he watches the officer's expression change, he can feel the weight of the moment. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff, wondering if the next step will lead to freedom or a fall. The officer's gaze moves from the name on the license to the man seated behind the wheel. There's a flicker of recognition that passes through his eyes. "Wait a minute," he says slowly, a hint of disbelief lacing his voice. You're that billionaire, aren't you? The one who just made headlines." The words hang in the air, thick with surprise. For the man, this moment feels surreal. He's used to being recognized, but this isn't just about fame. It's about understanding the perceptions that surround him. How did he go from being seen as a potential threat to a respected figure in society? Simply by the revelation of his wealth. He takes a deep breath, ready to navigate this unexpected twist in their encounter. As the officer processes this new information, the initial wariness begins to fade. He shifts his stance, and the earlier tension slowly dissipates. "I saw the article about your company's new investment strategy," he admits, the tone of his voice now almost apologetic. "I didn't realize you were living in our neighborhood." The man nods, trying to bridge the gap between them. "Yes, I've lived here for a while now. I love the community, and I believe in giving back." He speaks with conviction, knowing this is not just an encounter with a police officer. It's a chance to challenge the assumptions that cloud their interaction. With the air of confrontation replaced by curiosity, the officer asks, "What's it like being in the public eye?" The man pauses, pondering the question. "It can be overwhelming," he replies. "People have a tendency to see what they want to see. Some admire me, while others make judgments based solely on my appearance or background. It's frustrating." The officer listens intently, realizing that he is witnessing a moment of vulnerability. This man is not just a billionaire. He is a person with fears, challenges, and a story. Their conversation dives deeper into the complexities of identity, touching on the burdens that come with wealth and the stereotypes that persist in society. As they talk, the man reflects on how media portrays individuals of color in positions of power. Often, the narrative is skewed, he shares. "People want to believe that success is unattainable for someone like me. They see a black man in a suit and automatically think of the exceptions rather than the rule." The officer nods, beginning to understand the weight of these conversations. He recognizes the role he plays, not just as an officer of the law, but as a member of a community that must confront its biases. "I guess I never thought about it that way," he admits. "I always just assumed." He trails off, the implications of his unspoken thoughts lingering in the air. In this exchange, the balance of power has shifted. The officer is no longer the authority figure. He is a student in this moment. The man's wealth, once perceived as a threat, is now a bridge to understanding. They are two men from different worlds, yet they find common ground in their shared humanity. The man continues, "I want to use my platform to help others. Success isn't just about wealth. It's about lifting people up along the way." He shares stories of mentorship, community projects, and the importance of representation. "When I see young people struggling to find their way, I feel a responsibility to help. Everyone deserves a chance." As the man speaks, the officer reflects on his own life. He realizes that he often views the world through a narrow lens. His job is to enforce the law. But in doing so, he sometimes forgets to see the individuals behind the statistics. "I think I understand a little better now," he says, a note of humility in his voice. It's easy to fall into the trap of stereotypes. The man smiles, appreciating the officer's willingness to learn. We all have biases. The key is to recognize them and challenge them. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Their dialogue becomes a powerful exchange, one that transcends the initial circumstances of the traffic stop. Just when the conversation takes a thoughtful turn, a third party interrupts. Another police officer who approaches, unaware of the profound discussion unfolding. "What's going on here?" he asks, his tone still stern and professional. The first officer glances at the man, who now sits relaxed behind the wheel, a stark contrast to the anxiety he felt moments earlier. "He's not who you think he is," the first officer replies, a hint of pride in his voice. "He's a billionaire. He just shared some important insights with me." The new officer's eyes widen in disbelief. "Wait, really?" The surprise is palpable, and the man can't help but chuckle lightly, realizing how perceptions shift with the new information. This unexpected turn demonstrates how quickly assumptions can change. The second officer, initially ready to enforce the law, now looks at the man with a mixture of respect and curiosity. "I've heard about you," he admits, his demeanor shifting. "I didn't expect to meet you like this." The conversation continues, drawing in this new officer. As they exchange stories, the initial tension of the stop transforms into a candid discussion about race, identity, and privilege. The man emphasizes the need for police to understand the communities they serve, advocating for greater empathy and connection. In this moment, they create a microcosm of the larger issues at play in society. Through dialogue, they break down barriers, proving that understanding can be fostered in the most unexpected situations. The man's willingness to share his journey encourages both officers to reflect on their roles and biases. The officers begin to ask questions about wealth, success, and the challenges he faced on his journey. The man responds thoughtfully, providing insights that challenge their preconceptions. Success isn't just about money. It's about resilience, passion, and the willingness to learn from failure, he explains. As their discussion unfolds, the man shares stories of how he overcame obstacles, faced discrimination, and carved out his path in a world that often undermines the achievements of people of color. The officers listen, captivated by the narrative that unfolds. One officer asks, "What advice do you have for someone in my position?" The man replies, "Stay curious. Don't be afraid to question your own beliefs. The world is more complex than it seems." In this moment, he transforms from a suspect into a teacher, guiding them through the complexities of race, identity, and privilege. The conversation shifts to community engagement. The man passionately discusses the importance of building trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve. "We need more programs that promote understanding," he asserts. "It's about partnership, not division. When we work together, we can make real change." The officers nod, recognizing the truth in his words. This man is not just a figure of wealth. He represents a vision for a better future, a future where dialogue replaces assumptions and understanding builds bridges. As their encounter draws to a close, the officers thank the man for his openness. They realize that this moment will stick with them. The man's story is now part of their narrative, a reminder of the complexities that come with their roles. As he prepares to leave, the man offers one final thought. "Always remember that everyone has a story. It's our job to listen." With those words, he drives away, leaving the officers reflecting on the profound impact of their encounter. After the surprise revelation during the police stop, life resumes its rhythm in the neighborhood. The billionaire man drives away, but the impact of that encounter lingers in the air like an unfinished conversation. The two officers stand at the side of the road, still grappling with the unexpected twists of the day. They had approached the situation expecting a routine stop, but what unfolded was a profound moment that challenged their views and forced them to reconsider the narratives they held. As they returned to their patrol car, the first officer, who had engaged in the conversation, can't shake off the weight of their dialogue. "I didn't realize how much our perceptions shape our interactions," he murmurs, staring into the distance. The second officer nods, equally contemplative. "It's eye-opening. We get so caught up in the job that we forget there's a person behind every stop." The first officer nods in agreement, replaying the man's words in his mind. He mentioned the importance of understanding. "How many times have I jumped to conclusions without knowing someone's story?" He feels a mix of frustration and enlightenment. The encounter was more than just a conversation. It was a wake-up call. News of the police stop begins to spread in the neighborhood. Social media buzzes with reactions, opinions flying in every direction. People talk about the incident, and varying perspectives emerge. Some express disbelief that a police officer would not recognize a billionaire, while others focus on the underlying issue of racial profiling. As the story circulates, a community meeting is organized at a local center. Neighbors gather to discuss the implications of the encounter and what it means for their community. Voices rise and fall, some filled with anger and frustration, others with a desire for change. This is more than just about a wealthy man. It's about how we see each other, one resident declares passionately. Local news outlets pick up the story, and soon it goes beyond the neighborhood. Journalists descend upon the scene, eager to cover this unusual police stop. Headlines flash across screens. Billionaire surprises officers during traffic stop. A lesson in perception. The story sparks debates in living rooms and workplaces alike, as people ponder the implications of wealth, race, and identity. One journalist dives deep, seeking to uncover the man's backstory. She learns about his rise from humble beginnings, the challenges he faced, and how he built his empire. As she pieces together the narrative, she realizes it's not just about wealth. It's about resilience and the fight against the odds. Meanwhile, the man reflects on his encounter with the officers. He feels a mix of relief and apprehension. On one hand, he is grateful that the officers listened and learned from him. On the other, he worries about how this moment will be interpreted. Will it be a catalyst for change, or just another headline that fades away? He sits in his office, the skyline of the city visible through his window. The world outside is bustling, filled with stories that often go unheard. He understands the importance of using his platform to amplify voices that are often marginalized. With a renewed sense of purpose, he begins drafting a proposal for a community outreach program aimed at bridging the gap between law enforcement and the neighborhoods they serve. The community meeting kicks off with a sense of urgency. People share their stories of discrimination, misunderstandings, and encounters with law enforcement. One woman stands up, her voice trembling. "I was stopped once for just walking in my neighborhood. They thought I didn't belong," she says, tears glistening in her eyes. The room grows silent as others nod in understanding. They know her pain. The meeting transforms into a platform for shared experiences, igniting a flame of solidarity. "We need to stand together," a young man asserts. "If we don't speak up, nothing will change." As the meeting progresses, they discuss solutions. Ideas flow like water. Community policing initiatives, mentorship programs, and workshops that promote understanding between law enforcement and citizens. The atmosphere shifts from despair to hope. There's a palpable sense of empowerment in the room as they realize they have the power to create change. In the police department, the officers who were involved in the stop are called in for a debriefing. Their superiors want to discuss the incident and its implications. The first officer shares his experience, emphasizing the lessons learned from the conversation with the billionaire. "This isn't just about one stop. It's a reflection of how we approach our job every day," he explains. He talks about the importance of seeing beyond uniforms and stereotypes. The room listens intently, recognizing the need for training that fosters empathy and understanding. As the discussion unfolds, the second officer chimes in. "We should consider community outreach programs ourselves. Getting to know the people we serve can make a difference." The superiors nod, acknowledging the need for reform. This incident has become a catalyst for discussions on how to improve community relations and address issues of racial profiling within the department. They understand that real change begins with acknowledgement and a willingness to listen. Meanwhile, the media continues to cover the unfolding story. The billionaire's narrative takes center stage, highlighting his commitment to community service. He is invited to speak at various forums, where he shares his experiences and advocates for better relationships between law enforcement and communities of color. During one of his speeches, he says, "We must recognize that our perceptions shape our realities. If we want to build bridges, we need to start with understanding." His words resonate with many, inspiring others to reflect on their own biases and the stories they choose to believe. As the weeks pass, the initial incident continues to influence discussions in the community and beyond. Activists and community leaders rally around the cause, pushing for legislative changes that address systemic issues within policing. They organize events, raise funds, and advocate for policies that promote accountability and transparency. Local schools introduce programs that educate students about diversity, empathy, and the importance of community engagement. Young minds begin to grasp the complexities of race and identity, fostering a generation that values understanding over judgment. The billionaire remains actively involved in these initiatives, using his wealth and influence to support community projects. He funds scholarships for underprivileged youth, sponsors workshops for police officers, and invests in programs that promote economic development in marginalized neighborhoods. He understands that his role isn't just about personal success, it's about uplifting others. "I am where I am because of the people who believed in me," he often says. "Now it's my turn to believe in others." As time goes on, the police department implements new training programs focused on community relations. Officers participate in workshops that challenge their perspectives and encourage them to engage with community members. The officers begin to participate in community events, attending block parties and school functions. They learn to see the humanity in each person they meet, breaking down the barriers that once separated them. The community, in turn, responds positively, recognizing the effort being made to build trust. Months later, as the anniversary of the police stop approaches, the community holds a celebration. They invite the officers, the billionaire, and all who played a role in this transformative journey. The atmosphere is filled with laughter, music, and a shared sense of achievement. People share their stories, acknowledging the progress made since that fateful day. They celebrate the connections forged, the biases challenged, and the understanding cultivated. It is a testament to the power of dialogue and the impact of one unexpected encounter. The billionaire looks around, filled with gratitude. He realizes that this journey is just beginning. The legacy of that police stop will continue to ripple through the community, inspiring future generations to embrace empathy, understanding, and the belief that change is possible. The day after the police stop, the billionaire finds himself at a crossroads. News of the encounter has spread like wildfire, filling social media feeds with opinions and reactions. His phone buzzes continuously with calls and messages. Friends, family, and colleagues want to discuss what happened, eager to understand his perspective. Some express disbelief, while others admire his calm demeanor during the unexpected confrontation. He sips his coffee, staring out the window, lost in thought. Why did this moment resonate with so many? He wonders. He feels a growing sense of responsibility, not just for himself, but for the communities that share his experiences. Meanwhile, the two officers involved in the stop face a different kind of scrutiny. Their colleagues are abuzz with chatter about the incident, and some have even jokingly labeled them as the officers who didn't recognize a billionaire. Initially, they laugh it off, but as they dive deeper into conversations, they start to feel the weight of their actions. One officer, reflecting on the encounter, recalls the tense atmosphere during the stop. He had been quick to judge based on appearances, a habit ingrained in him through years of training and experience. What if I had treated him differently? What if I had acted with more respect? He ponders, a knot forming in his stomach. The other officer joins in, sharing his thoughts. It's not just about this one stop. It's about how we see people every day. We need to do better. They both agree that they want to learn from this experience, to grow beyond their biases, and to approach future interactions with greater empathy. As the story gains traction, local news outlets scramble to cover the event. The billionaire is invited to numerous interviews. He finds himself explaining his side of the story over and over again, each time with a mix of excitement and frustration. "This isn't just about me," he insists during one interview. "It's about the broader issue of race and policing in our society." The media frenzy reaches a boiling point when a national news network decides to air a special segment on the incident. They delve into the lives of the officers, interviewing their families and coworkers. The program paints a complex picture, highlighting the human side of law enforcement, while also critiquing the system that allows such biases to exist. In one interview, the officer who initially stopped the billionaire becomes visibly emotional. "I never wanted to be a part of something that perpetuates stereotypes," he admits, fighting back tears. "I want to be someone who helps, not harms." As conversations surrounding the police stop unfold, local activists seize the opportunity to advocate for change. They organize rallies and forums, inviting community members to share their experiences and discuss solutions. The atmosphere is charged with passion, and people of all ages come together to voice their concerns. One young woman steps up to the microphone at a rally. "We can't let this moment slip away. This is our chance to demand change," she shouts, her voice ringing out across the crowd. "We need accountability, and we need to ensure our voices are heard." Her words resonate with the audience, igniting a fire within them. They chant slogans, call for reforms, and demand action. The energy is electric, and as they march through the streets, they feel empowered, united in their quest for justice. Inspired by the movement, the billionaire decides to take action. He knows that money alone won't fix the deep-rooted issues in society, but he also understands the importance of investment in communities. He begins forming partnerships with local organizations that work toward racial equality and social justice. He meets with leaders of these organizations, listening to their stories and learning about the challenges they face. "I want to help create opportunities for change," he tells them earnestly. "Let's develop programs that educate, empower, and uplift our communities." With his support, they launch initiatives aimed at youth mentorship, job training, and community outreach. He believes that by investing in education and economic empowerment, they can begin to dismantle the systems of oppression that have held back so many. In response to the public outcry, the police department initiates a review of its practices. They bring in consultants to assess their policies and procedures, particularly regarding racial profiling. Officers attend workshops that challenge their biases and encourage them to engage with the communities they serve. The two officers from the original incident volunteer to lead discussions on their experiences. They share their story at these workshops, aiming to connect with their colleagues and encourage open dialogue about race, identity, and policing. "We need to acknowledge our mistakes," one officer says during a session. "Only then can we move forward." As the workshops continue, a noticeable shift occurs within the department. Officers begin to engage with community members in a more meaningful way, participating in local events and establishing trust with residents. The atmosphere shifts from one of tension to cooperation. Despite the positive changes, the emotional toll of the incident weighs heavily on everyone involved. The billionaire, while feeling hopeful, also grapples with the realities of systemic racism. He understands that his privilege affords him protections that many others do not have. This awareness pushes him to work harder for those whose voices remain unheard. At the same time, the officers experience their own struggles. The weight of their actions lingers, and they face criticism both within and outside the department. Some community members express anger and distrust, while others offer support and understanding. The journey toward rebuilding relationships is complex, filled with ups and downs. In the community, responses vary. Some residents embrace the changes, appreciating the efforts made by the police department. They attend community meetings, sharing their thoughts and concerns, while also expressing gratitude for the outreach initiatives. However, skepticism remains. Many community members find it hard to trust law enforcement, given the history of racial profiling and discrimination. They express their frustrations openly, sharing stories of their own encounters with police. Words are just words, one man states firmly. We need action, not just promises. This dual perspective creates an ongoing dialogue within the community, encouraging people to express their feelings while also pushing for accountability. Tension hangs in the air, but beneath it lies a desire for understanding and change. As the discussions evolve, social media plays a pivotal role in shaping public opinion. Hashtags like #JusticeForAll and #PolicyReform trend online, drawing attention to the need for systemic change. People share their stories, experiences, and visions for a better future. The billionaire uses his platform to amplify voices that are often silenced. He posts videos, engages in discussions, and invites others to share their experiences. Let's continue this conversation, he urges his followers. Together, we can create a movement that brings about real change. Social media becomes a space for collaboration and innovation. Activists organized virtual forums, reaching a wider audience and fostering discussions about racial justice, equality, and the importance of community engagement. Recognizing the importance of education in driving change, schools begin to implement programs that teach students about social justice, history, and the significance of diversity. Educators create curricula that foster critical thinking, encouraging students to question the status quo and challenge societal norms. At one local high school, students organize a project called Voices of Change. They interview community members about their experiences with law enforcement, documenting their stories through video and art. The project culminates in an exhibition, showcasing the diverse perspectives of those affected by policing. Parents and community members gather to witness the students' hard work. As they walk through the exhibition, emotions run high. The stories touch hearts, bridging generational gaps and fostering empathy. People leave with a renewed commitment to advocate for change. As the months pass, the impact of the initial police stop continues to ripple throughout the community and beyond. The billionaire remains committed to his mission, attending forums, rallies, and community events. His presence serves as a reminder that change is possible when people come together. In the police department, new policies take shape, prioritizing transparency and accountability. Community members are invited to participate in discussions about policing strategies, ensuring their voices are heard in decision-making processes. This collaborative approach fosters a sense of ownership among residents, empowering them to take an active role in shaping their neighborhoods. Throughout this journey, the billionaire reflects on his personal growth. He understands that privilege comes with responsibility and feels compelled to use his platform to create opportunities for others. His encounters with community members have reshaped his views, deepening his understanding of the struggles faced by marginalized groups. Meanwhile, the officers involved in the initial stop continue their journey toward growth. They share their experiences with new recruits, advocating for empathy and understanding as foundational principles in policing. Every person we encounter has a story. One officer reminds the new trainees, "Our job is to listen and serve."